In anticipation of Tonson Art Toys Kid Buu figure, I'm reviewing the two best current Majin Buu figures available. And having already taken a look back at the SHFiguarts Majin Buu, view on the channel now, next up it's time to take a look at the throat diving, wife smashing, swagger jacking, son of a gun, Super Buu. What's going on, folks? Kinda Collecting here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, if this is your first video, again, welcome. And if you've been here before, you know the drill, man. So, what up, Oos? Hey, before we start, I want y'all to let me know who's the best second form villain in the Z series. Is it Buu, Cell, Frieza, or other? I don't know, maybe there's like a random Zarbon fan out there. Sound off in the comments down below. So when Majin Buu was first released from his pod, I said, oh shoot, the crew's in trouble. And then he got 8 and transformed into Super Buu, and I said, oh shoot, the crew's in trouble. And then he hit the planet with human extinction, and I said, oh shoot, the crew's in trouble. All that to say, Super Buu was a menace, and whether he was just sitting still or walking slow, every scene he was in had me on the edge of my seat. And SHFiguarts did a great job capturing his presence in figure form. From tendril to toe, his design is amazing, a one-to-one recreation of Buu's second form. He's light on accessories, but there's not a lot missing, and there's only one iconic pose that he can't hit on a figure that otherwise articulates really well. So all in all, this figure is bringing a lot of terror to the desk, just like he brought terror to the show. So let's dive in and talk about it. Talking purely details, Figuarts knocked it out of the park with this guy. Now at its core, Buu's design is simple. It's just a tall pink dude with white pants. But his proportions aren't natural. He doesn't have a chin, his torso is long, and his limbs are even longer. But Tamashii did a great job capturing all of that. I love how they added darker pink line work in the faces to help add details to the sculpts, and the little spots of black throughout the figure help break up the pure pink madness that is Super Buu. They applied the same metallic gold trim on the gauntlets, boots, and belt that we saw in the first Majin Buu, and just like on that guy, it works here too. And the small parts of muscle definition that's sculpted throughout help to avoid him looking like a long piece of gum. Now, the off-white pants have a bit of shading to them, but I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think it makes the figure look a little dirty, but it's a thought that counts. Right? So overall, I love the character design of Buu, and I think Bandai captured that look beautifully. The silhouette this guy makes is unmistakably super Buu. So for details, I'm giving him a 4.5 out of 5. Similar to his big body counterpart, Super Buu doesn't come with a lot of accessories, but what's here is necessary. For starters, he comes with 4 pairs of hands. He has a pair of Mink Minks, a pair of Ki Blast hands, a pair of roasting hands, and he has a finger pointing right hand and a finger gesturing left hand. To go along with his hands, Super Buu comes with 3 amazing head sculpts. He's got his grumpy face, a menacing smile, and a yelling head. All 3 heads have great detail. The sculpting is fire, the line work looks dope, and the added detail of the veins pulsing through his skin take that particular sculpt over the top. Now I wish I could say, well, he could have used this or that's missing from that one scene, because it feels like the accessories are lacking, but I can't. What's here is great and he has everything he needs. You know what? Scratch that, I lied. They could have definitely added a gridded teeth sculpt to get the full range of emotions. He does come with a bonus sculpt and effect piece for Fat Buu, and I wasn't too hype about that, so maybe they could have used that extra space to add that gridded teeth, or maybe even an extra effect piece, like an A. So with that in mind, for accessories, I'm giving Super Buu a 4 out of 5. That one extra head sculpt could have sent this thing through the roof. For a company that's notoriously known for having a smaller scale, when Figuarts does bigger characters, they execute them really well, and they manage to keep the same articulation as all their other figures too. And the same goes here. Now again, I'm not the articulation guy, and POAs mean absolutely nothing if Buu can't perform human extinction. Thankfully, he can perform that with ease, and a bunch of other moves too. The range of motion in the head is phenomenal. He can look up effortlessly, and he can tuck his lack of a chin deep into his neck. And he can tilt and rotate with zero issue. His neck is a separate piece from his head and torso, and that does add to the articulation. The one downside to it though is when you lift it too high, you get a little gappy gap. And the gaps, don't stop there. Swing the arms out and we get a full rotation at the shoulder, swivel at the bicep, double jointed elbows, and not only swivel at the wrists, but swivel at the gauntlets too. Now the butterfly joints on Boo are amazing. He could dang near hug himself. But that gap you get when those arms are fully extended are crazy. And it's not even a case of, oh, nah, you'll never see it from this angle. Nah, whichever angle you turn it, those gaps are potent. Now his torso has some of the best ab crunch and torso swivel I've seen on a figure. He gets down there. There is a gap in the back when you do that, but that is a case of, nah, you definitely won't see it from most angles, so you can get away with it. And I think this is the torso swivel that all the new Marvel Legends are striving to be. His front, back, left, right game is some of the best on the market, and I'm 99% sure that if I was willing to test it, he'd be able to do a full 360. I'm just not willing to test it. Boo's legs are a little disappointing. Most of it is good though. He can hit the splits, he kicks pretty high, but his double jointed knees are ready to pop off at a moment's notice. Now, I have a Goku figure that does the exact same thing, so it's not a major deal, it pops right back into place, but the part that's disappointing the most is that due to the bulky nature of his pants, it hinders the bend at the knee, which stops him from being able to kneel down. So you won't be able to watch an hourglass tick down while trying to figure out how long an hour is. And now that I think about it, Piccolo was definitely trying to finesse Boo on that lookout. Cause Boo didn't know how long an hour was, so that hourglass could have been ticking down for 75 years and he would have never noticed it. All scams aside though, if Boo could get into that stance, I don't think he'd be able to hold it that long cause his ankle pegs are tiny, which is by far the biggest issue with this articulation. Now it doesn't completely stop it from holding poses, but it does make balancing a minor task. So for the articulation, I gotta give him a 3.5 out of 5. Again, the articulation that's here is great, but the trade-off with the gaps and the lackluster leg articulation mixed with those tiny ankle pegs bring the score down a little bit. Now let's see how we can finesse those little tiny pegs into some poses. One thing that stood out when Majin Buu transformed into Super Buu was just how massive he was. I mean, he made Piccolo look like a dork, and he's the tallest of the Z Fighters. So as long as that stands true here, then we'll be all good. But of course, we gotta start with the SHF Majin Buu and the Dragon Stars Kid Buu. Height-wise, he checks out. He's the tallest of the three forms, just as he should be. Now, when Piccolo was walking Buu around the lookout to buy some time, I can't begin to tell y'all how much my brain hurt as a kid trying to figure out what a minute in real time equates to in the hyperbolic time chamber. To be honest with you, my brain started hurting just now. Here's the SHF Piccolo, and let's just pretend that that's Goten. And just like in the show, he makes Piccolo look like a dork. Next we have the two Buu besties with Mr. Hercule and B. And I can call them his besties because when he had the opportunity to extinct them, he let them live. Besties. Here he is next to the demoniacal fit Goku, but let's just pretend it's Ultimate Gohan, and the guy who failed to kill Buu the first time around in the SHF Majin Vegeta. Head sculpts courtesy of Thompson Art Toys. Going back to the three big bads, here's Super Buu next to the SHF Final Form Frieza and the Figure Rise Perfect Cell with a custom paint job. Don't let him fool you, his arm is definitely broken, but I effing love these three together. And just because he's my favorite character, here's Buu next to the SHF Armored and Full Power Broly. Let's switch it up and add some variety. Here's how Buu stacks up to two of Marvel Legends taller figures with Venom from the Venom and Null 2-pack and the 80th anniversary Thor. And last but not least, here's one of SHF's other taller figures and one of Metacom's bigger figures with the Spider-Man 2099 and the big body backbreaker Bane. Now, about the only thing I can say about the scale is yes, yes, yes. It is the perfect height for any SHF Dragon Ball collector, so on a scale of 1 to 5, Super Buu gets a 5. I go back and forth with my emotions about this figure. When I made my Don't Call Him Fat Buu review, I said that this figure was better, But after fully messing around with this guy, my opinions have changed. And it's no disrespect to Super Boo, it's more of giving praise to that other one. This figure is still amazing, and I still think it's one of Figuarts' better Z figures. I always appreciate when I get to add a taller character to my collection to break up that 6-inch norm, and I like it even more when it's a character that I'm a fan of. Now, Super Boo retailed for $73.99 when it was available, which is not bad for Figuarts figures. Unfortunately, it's not available at retail anymore, but it's available on the aftermarket, and the price ranges between $90 and $120. I was able to pick mine up on Mercari for the lower end of that scale, and I regret nothing. Pricing gets a 4 out of 5, and that brings the overall to a 4.2 out of 5. And I'll be honest with you, that number is so perfect. Some minor flaws keep it from obtaining perfection, but it's still a great figure. And that'll do it for today's video, and that leaves us with just one more Boo to review. And when that adolescent arrives, if you want to be one of the first ones to catch that review, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Stay tuned for the shots at the end, and until next time, protect your peace, stay young at heart, and remember, we're all kind of collecting something. Peace.